This is the video for Class 1 Lab 1, and in this lab we're going to be exploring latitude and longitude. We're going to be using comma-separated values, or CSV, as the file format. We're going to also be using a utility called geojson.io, which is an online utility. And we're going to be using Notepad, and Notepad's a standard text editor that would be on any PC. Certainly you can do this with another editor, but as a default we can just go ahead and use Notepad. That's fine. So to get started, I've downloaded the data, and in the lab worksheet you'll see the location for downloading the data, and I'm just going to unpack this now. So I'm going to extract it. So I just do a right click and say extract all, and that's going to put it onto the desktop here as an open folder, and on the inside there'll be a little CSV file for the Statue of Liberty, and I'm just going to place that on my desktop outside of the folder, and then I'm going to get rid of all the rest of it here. Okay, so now I have this CSV file, and what I want to do is open this up in Notepad. So if I were to do a right click and just open it, it would open likely in Excel or another spreadsheet program. We just want to use a text editor. It's basically comma separated values. It's a very simple file structure, and it's a very common file structure that's utilized for a lot of geospatial work, especially with latitude and longitude. So I'm just going to come here and open it with Notepad. And as it opens up, we can see that we have a really simple structure. It's basically values that are separated by commas. So if I make a space here, we can see that our Statue of Liberty is New York, USA, comma, latitude 40.68, and then a longitude of -74. So what we want to do here is we could simply map this points feature right now, but what we want to do is we want to see the precision of latitude and longitude as it's degraded. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take away decimal digits and see what happens when we actually map this. So I'm just going to copy this out 5 times, so I have 6 different versions of this. So I'll just do a copy C, and then I'm going to go down to the next line, copy V, next line, copy V. So I have 6 of these. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start taking away a digit. So this one's going to get 1 taken away. This one's going to get 2, and then 3. And then 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then finally 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we end up at the very last with a precision of just 1 digit. And now what we want to do is we want to see what this actually looks like. If we degrade our precision, what happens to our points? And the real point of this lab is, 1, to work with CSV for just a moment, and then 2, to really realize that latitude and longitude, the quality of your data, or the accuracy, the precision of your data, is going to rely on these decimal places when you're doing digital mapping. So if you have spatial data and it has latitude and longitude in it, it oftentimes will come in a CSV, and you need to be very careful about the precision of that incoming data. And if the precision is very high, that's going to be fine for both large scale and small scale mapping. But if your precision is relatively low, like these last 2 here, then you need to be very careful if you're doing large scale mapping and you're presenting the data in a way to suggest that those points are actually very accurate. In this case, we've degraded them so that they're not particularly accurate to the original location that we want to map, which in this case is Statue of Liberty. So let's go ahead and save this. So we're just going to go File, Save As, and we'll stick it on the desktop here. And I'm just going to call it Statue of Liberty. I'll put 2 and save it. Okay, so now I have two versions here. And what's important here that this is just a text document right now. I need to change its file extension from a .txt to .csv. And as I do that now, GeoJSON will see it as a comma-separated value, and that's one of the file formats that GeoJSON will allow. So if we go to save, we can see that we could save it as a CSV, a shapefile, GeoJSON, but we can also open it. So I'm going to go to open and say file, and I'm going to bring in my CSV 2 and say open. And let's take a look at our points, what we get back here. So if we zoom in real close, we can see that we originally had a point that was right on the Statue of Liberty. And if we just take away 1 decimal point or 2 decimal points, it doesn't make a big difference. But when we get into, it looks like the 4th one here, let's see, we're starting to get into somewhat of a degradation in terms of the precision. And as we come out even further, let's zoom out a little bit further, we can see our last point is very far away from where it should be. And there is even a point that's way down here in Brooklyn that's really off. So as I get down into this level of precision, then all of a sudden I'm definitely mapping at a scale that's not, or I should say, mapping with a precision that's not appropriate for the map that I'm trying to achieve. So this is just a quick way to work with CSV and latitude and longitude, and you can always import latitude and longitude pairs into GeoJSON. And what's nice about this utility is that you can quickly save it to a format that's going to work with GIS. So a lot of times, if you just need to import, do a conversion, and export to another file type, this is a great utility to use.